Okay, so here we go again. So this is Recollection number 14. Again, the tabletop RPG we are playing is Dungeons and Dragons 5e, and the source book we are using is Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. Alright, it's the summer now, so it's particularly hot. Actually, I'm gonna at least roll down the windows here. Hotter than the dickens. Whew. Maybe a little bit of crosswind. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Alright. Oh, Jesus. Anyways. Might get a little bit of road noise, maybe. Anyways, let's continue. So, this is right after the combat in the forest with the dire troll. So the party recovers from a short rest, and they continue through the forest. Now, eventually, deep in the heart of the forest, they reach a very dark and shaded section where the ancient ruins are. Now, Vexen leads the party in again, after, of course, Xander checks the entry for traps, as he always does. Now, this is a long series of sessions, actually, because there's a ton that we do in this dungeon. This dungeon, it gets a little fun. It gets a little fuzzy, because there's so many combats, there's so many rooms, there's so many traps, there's so many little puzzles. I was just like, I don't remember anything but like the snail flail, which was one of my favorites. That's a funny monster from D&D. Anyways, or is it a flail snail? But besides that, the party, they basically discovered that all these creatures, they're like forest creatures that have been subjugated by something very powerful within the dungeon. And so they spend a lot of time actually exploring. They're acquiring the various items that I had trickled throughout the dungeon, and they're learning a lot of information about what this dungeon, this ruin was supposed to be and stuff like that. And finally, they discover the final rooms that lead to the sort of inner sanctum of the dungeon. Now, they end up clearing one room, and this is only something that'll come in later, but one of the rooms they clear is an ogre and a half-ogre that are complaining about all these coins and what they're going to do with them. And from what they can tell, they think the coins are worthless. Well, the party thinks maybe they're just worthless to them. So they kill this ogre and half-ogre, and then they discover the truth of it. It's all electrum, which, if you've ever played D&D, no one ever gets paid in electrum. It's always gold, maybe silver, maybe copper, but never electrum. So it's kind of funny to throw in actual electrum there, and the party actually ends up collecting the electrum because Vexen ensures that it is valuable, mostly as a joke, but he ensures it nonetheless. So the party then continues further into the dungeon's darkest reaches, which give way to a massive cavern system that is deep below the ruins. And they also discover a river, an underground river, with a bridge over it. Now, Xander establishes that the bridge is heavily trapped. So the party instead uses the cloak of the manta ray, which they found in the dungeon, and it is worn by Nox's kid, who ends up swimming across and uses a rope to basically fashion like a rope bridge that they can hold on to, right, and shimmy across through the river. Now, the only issue was Wick, who was particularly weak, and he nearly got swept away, if not for Noctis' kid swimming out and saving him, like Michael Phelps with his deep V shirt and his manta ray cloak. He just swam out there like Michael Phelps and brought him in. So, let's see here. I got, of course, here, I'll turn the page here. It's Recollections. A real page turner. Anyways, so the party, after crossing the bridge, they begin to receive these sort of strange visions after some wisdom saving throws. So it appears something is trying to delve into their minds and bring up visions of their past. Now, the visions are being caused by one of the arms of Torog. That is, will be revealed later. But Wick fails first, and so he relives a strange vision of his past whenever he was a boy. He's on the steps at some door, listening to his parents. Basically, their relationship is falling apart. And it's more along the lines, it's kind of an allusion to, there's an island in Campaign 2 where everyone forgets who they were before. And if they leave the island, then all their memories come flooding back. And that's exactly what happened to his parents. His parents escaped that island through some aid of someone there. And whenever they came back, they basically were like, why, we shouldn't be together. We have a kid and everything, but I don't know who you are and stuff like that. And so essentially, they basically separate. And the one who takes the brunt of it is obviously Wick. So, from there, so he sits on the steps of the door listening to this, and they both essentially abandon him. And then the next morning, he sits there the whole time, and the next morning, Ferris, the leader of the vassals, the first vassal, finds him and takes him in as an orphan to join the vassals. And then it's a painful memory for Wick, losing his parents like that. So Vorkeef is subjected to a vision of him running through a winding, dark cavern system. And all the while he is being chased by what sounds like maniacal laughter. And he can see the dead faces of his former party members. And essentially he's just reminded that he abandoned them. So he ran to save himself while they died, essentially. So Vexen, on the other hand, also failed, and he is reminded of a vision, or he is granted a vision of also a time from his past that's kind of warped and dreamlike. And it is a vision of his family, where his mother and his siblings are walking into the desert while he stays with his father. And essentially, it's eventually, like his father holding his hand, or has his hand on his shoulder as the rest of his family leaves. And then they are engulfed at a distance, seemingly by a blizzard. And it is essentially an allusion to the fall of Draconia, to the, I'm trying to remember his name, the White Dragon from the Chroma Conclave, Vorigal, the Frigid Doom. And so, now Nox's kid, Elio, and Xander, they succeed in the wisdom saving throw. And as they keep pressing on into this underground cavern, finally the party continues to a small ruined courtyard that was long established and forgotten. And they see waiting in the center is the brawny incubus, Brannick, who senses their presence and calls out, "Dragonborn!" Basically, calling out Vexen, because him and Vexen, they still have a score to settle after their fight in Diastock. But essentially, that's pretty much it. And yeah, we'll be on to the next one after that. But until then, take care.